COVID-19 vaccine was received with enthusiasm by most Nigerians. Inoculation, which began with frontline health workers, top government functionaries, soon has spread to almost all nooks and crannies. Regular citizens can now access the vaccine for free at designated centers in Lagos and elsewhere. We will examine the scope of the nationwide exercise on Panorama today, coming to you live from the Lagos Network Center. I am Hinginu John Adams. Thanks for being there. President Muhammadu Buhari will this Tuesday proceed to London, the United Kingdom, for a routine medical checkup. A statement by his special advisor, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says the president is expected to meet with security chiefs in the morning before embarking on the journey. He is due back in the country during the second week of April 2021. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has on Monday held a strategic engagement with the leadership of the National Assembly on the best way forward in controlling and containing the coronavirus pandemic, as well as tackling the various challenges bedeviling the country. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president also granted audience to the chairman, Nigeria Governors Forum, and Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, on the state of the nation.
This is the second time President Muhammadu Buhari is formally engaging presiding officers of the National Assembly in the last 2 months, and third for the year 2021. And just like the previous ones, discussions on the state of the nation were held behind closed doors. As Senate President Ahmed Lawan explained after the meeting that lasted more than 1 hour, ways and means of ensuring adequate funding for the battle against insecurity and COVID-19.
Both the executive and legislative arms believe that we should have supplementary budget to provide for funding of the COVID-19 vaccination in Nigeria, as well as providing more resources and platforms to our security agencies. The security situation is gradually improving, and I'm sure that when we'll have more resources to our security agencies, we'll see even faster recovery of our situation.
The presiding officers of the National Assembly also used the opportunity to reassure the nation of their commitment to the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill.
The PIB is probably the most essential legislation we'll have to pass, because this is going to change the entire economic scope of Nigeria. There will be more resources, foreign direct investment flowing into the country, and more certainty. That is even essential.
We made a commitment to the Nigerian people, and that commitment is end of April.
Discussions between President Muhammadu Buhari and the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, also centered on national security.
Mr. President has almost nitty-gritty detail of what's going on in every state, and he has even more information than we do on these issues. He is clearly committed to doing more in terms of procurement of equipment and platforms for the military, particularly to support the new leadership, also working with the states, find the best way of stemming the tide of our current insecurity challenges.
Issues relating to food sufficiency and security, as well as the unhealthy relationship between herders and farmers in parts of the country, were also analyzed at the meeting. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Insecurity now. The Minister of Armed Forces of the United Kingdom has visited the Ministry of Defense and some of its military components to consolidate on defense cooperation between Nigeria and the UK, especially in countering violent extremism in the northeast and other threats across the country and the Gulf of Guinea. Defense correspondent Najat Tijani reports.
Of course, is fully committed to the success.
Tasked with leading defense engagements in Africa and Latin America, the British Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State is effecting his role by seeking to expand modalities with his Nigerian counterpart, Major General Bashir Magashi. Top on the agenda being the review of existing bilateral agreements between both countries to fast-track new plans of action aimed at ending insecurity, including violent extremism in the country. Accompanied by the British High Commissioner to Nigeria and the British Defence Advisor, Mr. Hippie also called on the Chief of Defence Staff and Chief of Naval Staff, where he outlined the need to curb illegal activities in the Gulf of Guinea, a strategic trade route.
Cross-governmental review of the Gulf of Guinea security situation with a view to actualizing the desired objective of a secure Gulf of Guinea maritime environment for the benefit of all.
It is expected that both countries will leverage areas of expertise in order to achieve the set goals of countering violent extremism and other security threats across the country. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Away from security now, speakers at the 12th Bola Ahmed Tinubu colloquium held in Kano have expressed optimism that Nigeria will achieve its developmental goals despite the prevailing challenges bedeviling the country. They are hopeful that with patriotic citizens like the APC national leader leading the way, such challenges are surmountable. Abdullahi Mustafa has the reports.
Birthdays are traditionally a moment for merrymaking, but for the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is more than just that. For the past 12 years, it is being used to reflect on the state of the nation and proffer solution. As he clocks 69 this year, the colloquium focused on unity. Our common bond, our common wealth, the imperative of national cohesion for growth and prosperity is the theme of the 12th colloquium.
It's a challenge to the politicians, to the elites, even to the ordinary men in Nigeria. Today is a Shawini's day. It's about him and it's about Nigeria.
This colloquium is a difference because it demonstrates the sense of unity in Nigeria.
Other speakers express optimism that Africa will achieve the envisioned growth and prosperity despite prevailing challenges. Bringing the event to Kano, the celebrant stated, is to strengthen the bond of brotherhood among Nigerians of diverse ethnic and religious backgrounds.
It's because there is a Fulani man who gave his daughter to a farmer, Yoruba man.
For Governor Ganduje, this is a great honor to the state and its people. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Now, stakeholders in the maritime sector are sustaining conversation on how Nigeria can embrace the principles of international trade to guide the interests of investors under the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. This was at a sensitization workshop held where the attendees were also exposed to the new essentials of global trade.
The African Continental Free Trade Area is a window of opportunity to bring 30 million people out of extreme poverty, according to the World Bank. But the eventual winners will be those who have maximum control over logistics, since this is an impetus for international trade. Dealing with this complexity is spelled out in the set of rules that guide international trade, known as Incoterms.
Considering recent developments in the inland transportation of goods through the rehabilitation and expansion of Nigerian railway network and the establishment of inland dry ports in different parts of the country, we need to be adequately prepared for the increase in trading activities that this development will surely bring to international trade.
Those are the things that we have to start thinking about.
The workshop is teaching importers, exporters, and stakeholders within the port ecosystem on how to handle trade, putting into consideration variables like cost, freight, duty paid, and insurance across the African continent.
Nigeria, for example, we have rules in the foreign exchange management. They should be conversant with that and agreed on payment and agreed on documentation.
It is on record that Nigeria loses 5 billion naira to freight services annually. But stakeholders here believe domesticating international trade rules is the answer to turning them to gains.
International rules that govern trade will help the economy a great deal, and will also have a very seamless process for trade to thrive in our environment.
The first Incoterms was published in 1936, while the last amendment, done in 2020, has not only generated dialogue for AFCFTA, but created a conversation on how to make the country's economy maintain its trajectory on global stage. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Let's now take a break. Panorama continues shortly. Stay with us.
Coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. Live long. Live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possible.
Thanks for staying with us. There is a growing acceptance of the COVID-19 vaccine in Lagos State as residents throng designated centers to receive the jab. Kende Adebisi has a situation report and the mood of individuals who have received the vaccine.
Lagosian who simply showed up at this center to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Just like the rest of the world, Nigerians anxiously waited many months for science to invent vaccine to protect them from falling to COVID-19.
Despite all the things that people are saying on social media, experience is the best teacher. I've taken the vaccine and we're doing well. Initially, there were unverified claims about the vaccine which made skeptics out of the majority. However, with the awareness created by government about the safety of the vaccine as well as the validation by the regulatory body NAFDAC, fares are being allayed.
I'm not feeling dizzy, I'm not feeling anything bad. I'm okay.
Took it, I had some slight pain, just little pain at the area of injection.
So far, no extreme side effect has been recorded in Lagos. This is why the number of recipients for the vaccine is on the rise.
If we are not able to reach herd immunity, then we will never be able to control the virus.
To ensure wide reach, Lagos State has more than 80 approved health facilities for the administration of COVID-19 vaccine. These centers cover all the 20 local government areas of the state. Since the flag off, more than 6,000 Lagos residents have received the vaccine. In Lagos, Kende Adebisi, NTA News.
Exercise in Lagos is Dr. Ayorinde Babatunde James, who joins us via Zoom. He is a research fellow at the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, NIMA, and his task is lead vaccine design and development. Thanks for joining us on Panorama.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. How would you rate the acceptance of COVID-19 vaccine in Lagos, considering the initial skepticism about it?
Well, thank you very much. A lot of people are beginning to jump to the side of accepting the vaccine. And yes, before it arrived, we had a lot of skepticisms and vaccine hesitancy amongst a lot of people. But we see that even those who do not meet the criteria for those who are supposed to be vaccinated first are beginning to come out, which shows that a lot of people or citizens in Lagos are accepting the vaccine and the need to be vaccinated. So I think it's quite impressive what we have out there.
Okay, does taking the vaccine mean that we cannot be infected?
Well, taking the vaccine is like developing your defense systems, and so it's like us saying that does having military or police presence or defense system, can it prevent one from being robbed or being attacked? To a certain extent, yes, but anything can happen. So it's not a certain cure. It's not a cure, but a preventive, mechanism against SARS-CoV-2 virus.
Okay, now to this very important point, are there categories of people that must not be inoculated?
Well, yes, to a certain extent. The vaccine is actually for those individuals who are above 18 years, and for people who are pregnant, I think they should avoid it, because we don't have sufficient data to support vaccinating pregnant women. To a certain extent, lactating mothers can be vaccinated. And some people with some form of acute febrile illnesses should see their physician before they go for vaccination. But things like mild cough, mild fever, headache should not be an impediment to having anyone being vaccinated. Yeah.
Okay, what about children?
Well, for now, children are not considered to be vaccinated for now. And like I said earlier, that the vaccine is indicated for active immunization of individuals that are above 18 years old. So for now, children are excluded from being vaccinated.
So we know that naturally human beings are afraid of side effects. What are the likely side effects associated with COVID-19 vaccine?
So most of the side effects have been classified into various organ and systems. Some can look at it from the blood side effects or adverse drug reactions in the blood and lymphatic system disorders. They are very uncommon, like immune system disorders, not known. One might have some form of decreased appetite, but very uncommon. But what is common is headache, very common, dizziness. You have a lot of gastrointestinal disorders like vomiting, diarrhea. But abdominal pain is very uncommon. You can have some form of pain at the site of injection, or tenderness, which is there. And some people would feel very weak, and some would have some form of chills, But in all, we should. It's like weighing, the pros and the cons of getting vaccinated. So these are most of the side effects are things that can be handled by a physician, and in many cases, the advice we just take paracetamol, and with that you're fine. But you could feel weak, and many times this is as a result of you trying to mount, your defense systems against the SARS-CoV-2. And in a day or two, one will be fine. And some people don't even have adverse reactions or any side effects at all. And but if you know that you have some issues with blood clotting prior to vaccination, it's good to discuss with your physician before you get vaccinated, or you think you need to get more information. I think it's always best to discuss with your physician. But in all, it's safe to take the vaccine. It's better to take the vaccine, and I think it's not been bad at all. Thank you.
All right, Dr. James, before I let you go, I want to ask you this question. After the complete doses, when should one take the vaccine again?
Well, it's between, okay, you mean after the second dose?
Yes, after you complete all the doses.
Okay, that information is not clear to anybody at the moment, because usually you want the vaccine to protect for a very long time. But there are some cases where you have flu and you need to take, the vaccine, almost seasonally. And some vaccines protect for life. So at the moment, our job as scientists is to investigate how long can we be protected by the defense systems that have been developed by these vaccines that we've received. And a lot of work is ongoing on that. So there is no definite answer on how long we are going to be protected against SARS-CoV-2 once we are vaccinated. But something is sure that in the meantime, we could be, be very protected against the virus to a high certainty, but I can't give any definite answer on when next we are going to take the next step of vaccines.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayorinde Babatunde James, for sharing your thoughts with us. Now to COVID-19 update. Latest figures from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control as at the 29th of March shows that 48 new cases of the coronavirus have been recorded in 8 states of the Federation, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 162,641 in Nigeria. Out of the new infections, Lagos topped the list with 13 cases, followed by Kaduna and Nasarawa with 7 cases each, Kano 6, Kwara 5, Ondo 4, while Akwa Ibom and Osun recorded 3 new cases each. 150,466 persons have been discharged, while 2,049 deaths have been recorded across the country. The gridlock at the Apapa corridor as a result of yard occupancy and congestion in accessing the ports in Lagos necessitated a recent notice of non-receipt of cargoes by the Nigerian Ports Authority for the next 14 days. Stakeholders are therefore deliberating on how to achieve a more organized system and robust export arrangement and execution. Imolia Ayotokede Ogunfowora has details.
Samuel Adegoju and Mohammed Daisk are exporters among other representatives from customs, terminal and barge operators, shippers, and freight forwarders present at the meeting. They took turns to identify some of the challenges they face while assessing the port, thereby making appropriate recommendations.
Actually, we are losing. We lost millions of dollars. There's an opportunity to have 2 inspection agents, different ports.
The executive director of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Olusegun Awolowo, stated that the federal government has been making frantic efforts on a holistic approach to ensure business activities are seamless and devoid of liabilities that can make doing business in Nigeria a nightmare.
The federal government is also concentrating more on roads, on the rail. So we will now be able to move goods by rail as we were doing in the past in Nigeria.
We're going to do an advertisement which would now seek in expressions of interest for owners of such facilities that are big enough to be designated as export processing terminals. And those locations will be inspected by the agencies, and those locations will be where you can have your warehouse, do your stuffing, do your consolidation, and inspections will be done there, and everything will be sealed in that premise.
It is expected that a seamless process on how exporters will get their containers with genuine and correct documents to the port will be achieved. In Lagos, Imolia Ayotokede Ogunfowora, NTA News.
Let's now join Tamara Ebiwe on Sports Update.